Kenya plans to reopen its airspace for international travel. And what that means is that people from other countries will be able to come and visit our country. But Kenyans were a bit ruffled and were not very happy after the government's announcement on how foreigners would be treated.
All passengers shall be exempt from quarantine on arrival at their destinations if their body temperatures is not above 37.5 degrees Celsius and they do not have a persistent cough, difficulty in breathing, and other flu-like symptoms. This is important because you do not expect a tourist to come from wherever, they land here, and then they are quarantined for 14 days. Nobody will come here.
And soon afterwards, the CS for Health, Mutahi Kagwe, clarified the whole situation. Now, like Kenya, Rwanda is also opening its borders for international travel. But for Rwanda, you'd have to come with a COVID-19 certificate, and once you arrive, you'll also need to take another COVID-19 test while staying at a government facility overnight, but at your own expense. The Rwandan government promises that these results will be out within a day. Now, looking at other countries around the world like the United Kingdom, once you go to the UK, you'll be required to fill in a form that needs to show where you've traveled from and if you have any underlying medical conditions. And once you gain entry into the UK, you'll be required to quarantine for 14 days. Now, in the event you break the quarantine protocol, you will be slapped with a £1,000 fine and even face expulsion from the UK. Now, looking at all countries around the world during this coronavirus pandemic, there is one that has stood out, and that is Taiwan. Now, Taiwan is unique for a couple of reasons. First of all, it's very close to China, and they never put lockdown measures whatsoever. And secondly, they've only lost 7 people due to the coronavirus pandemic. But what is Taiwan doing that is so different from everyone else in the world? Flora Chang, a Twitter enthusiast, documented her travel to Taiwan. Now, the first thing Flora was asked for was her travel history and her medical history before going to Taiwan. This was to enable smooth entry without a lot of questions at the airport. Now, once she got to the airport, she was required to buy a prepaid SIM card. Now, the number of this prepaid SIM card is supposed to be shared with the CDC of Taiwan to help monitor you during the 14-day period you will be in quarantine. Now, once Flora was ready to leave the airport, she was encouraged to take a taxi. Now, this is because the Taiwanese government had capped a certain price on cabs, making it much cheaper than using public transport. Once she got into the taxi driver had this responsibility. He or she has to call the hotel where you're staying and inform them that you have arrived. This is to facilitate quick entry into the hotel and straight to your room for the 14-day quarantine period. Once the taxi driver drops you at the hotel, he or she is required to take their taxi to a sanitization point where the cab is sanitized for at least 20 minutes before the taxi driver can go back to regular picking and ferrying of passengers. Now, in the event that you go to Taiwan and maybe you're staying at a friend's place or even your own house, the Taiwanese government is going to pay you $33 every single day during the 14-day period. Now, bringing it back to Kenya, Kenya plans to reopen its airspace for international travel on the 1st of August. But has the government put enough measures to protect her citizens and foreigners coming into the country? We'd love to hear from you. Please comment below.